In the early 1970s, Beverly Sills was the most famous opera singer in America. Her face was on magazines, she appeared on television, and audiences adored her. Yet there was one stage she had never stepped on, the Metropolitan Opera in New York, known simply as the Met. While European stars were constantly invited to perform, Sills was quietly ignored. Rumors spread that politics and favoritism were behind the snub. Some said secret meetings were held to keep her out. The gossip grew so loud that in 1973, Sills finally spoke out on national television, accusing the Met of favoring foreign singers over Americans. Her bold move shocked the opera world. Not long after, she began receiving hateful letters and even threats. Behind the glamour, Sills was fighting personal heartbreak. Her family was suffering as her dream remained out of reach. What seemed like a delay in her career turned out to be a painful story of prejudice, resilience, and survival that would take decades to fully uncover. Beverly Sills was born Belle Miriam Silverman in Brooklyn, New York in 1929. Her parents were Jewish immigrants who had fled hard times in Ukraine and Romania, hoping for a better life in America. They spoke Yiddish, Russian, and Romanian at home, so young Belle grew up fluent in several languages. Her family nicknamed her Bubbles because of her bright personality and bubbly laughter, a name that would stay with her forever. When she was just 3 years old, she appeared on a children's radio show called Uncle Bob's Rainbow House and amazed everyone with her high, clear voice. The sound engineers even had to install a red warning light to signal when her high notes peaked. Listeners fell in love with her voice and began sending bubblegum wrappers with her name on them. By 1935, her mother had collected over 700 of those wrappers, a small but proud sign that little Bubbles was already building a fan base across America. By age 7, she was performing professionally under the name Beverly Sills, a name chosen because it sounded less ethnic and more Hollywood. Her mother managed her career carefully, and soon Beverly was traveling the country as a child performer during the Great Depression. She earned more money than many adults, singing in 27 states and performing over 140 shows between 1937 and 1940. Her schedule was brutal. She often slept on trains, did homework in stations, and faced tough contracts that fined her if she made a mistake on stage. Although she earned nearly $4,000 during those years, most of it went to managers and travel costs, leaving her family with only a few $100s. These early struggles shaped her work ethic. Beverly learned to survive in an adult world that didn't care she was just a child. Her dream of performing opera began during this period, but she would spend decades proving that she was more than a child star. Sills spent years training and waiting for her true opera break. Many people still debate when her official debut happened, but it's now known that her first major performance took place on Valentine's Day, 1951, in Philadelphia. She earned only $15 that night, barely enough to cover her train fare. The journey was long and frustrating. In the 1950s, the opera world favored European singers, and American performers had to fight twice as hard for attention. When Beverly joined the New York City Opera in 1955, she finally began to shine. But even then, she was underpaid, earning only $50 a night while senior singers made hundreds. She typed resumes for other performers just to afford rent. Her big break came in 1958 with the opera The Ballad of Baby Doe, which critics loved. Sills became a national name, but she was still outside the elite circle of the Met. The director, at the time, dismissed her company as the Bronx of Opera, a comment that only fueled her determination to succeed. In 1956, Beverly married journalist Peter Greeno from a wealthy Boston family. Their marriage faced cultural resistance. His family disapproved because she was Jewish, and hers because he wasn't. Despite early struggles, they stayed together and had 2 children, Meredith, born in 1959, and Peter Jr., born in 1961. Both children had severe disabilities. Meredith was deaf, and Peter Jr. was later diagnosed with autism and epilepsy. Doctors told her to institutionalize her daughter, but Beverly refused. She took 8 months off from singing to teach Meredith herself, using lip reading and touch to communicate. Later, when her son needed constant medical care, she would sing on stage at night and spend her days at hospitals. These challenges could have destroyed her, but instead they made her stronger. Her devotion to her children turned her into a lifelong advocate for people with disabilities, and she often said that their struggles taught her how to truly feel emotion in her music. In 1966, Beverly's life changed when she landed the lead role in Handel's Giulio Cesare, Julius Caesar. The performance was so stunning that she received a 17-minute standing ovation and appeared on the cover of Time magazine. She had finally arrived. But the success came at a cost. Her demanding schedule damaged her vocal cords, and doctors warned she could lose her voice. In 1970, she developed nodules that required surgery. She was unable to speak for weeks and off the stage for nearly a year, losing hundreds of thousands in income. Yet she used that silence productively. She learned sign language to communicate better with her daughter and practiced singing without making a sound. When she returned, she shocked the opera world by performing 3 of Donizetti's most difficult operas back-to-back, earning rave reviews and record-breaking ticket sales. Her comeback was described as the rebirth of the Phoenix of Brooklyn. Despite her worldwide fame, Sills still hadn't been invited to perform at the Met. Insiders whispered that its director, Sir Rudolph Bing, thought she was too American and too commercial. Tired of waiting, Beverly finally spoke her truth on national TV in 1973, criticizing the Met for hiring mostly European singers. The statement exploded in the media. Some called her brave, others accused her of being disrespectful. Soon, threatening letters and even a bullet casing arrived at her home. Still, her fans stood by her. Ticket sales at the City Opera soared, and she became a symbol of the working-class American who had challenged the establishment. But the feud came at a personal price. While she was performing in Italy in 1974, her son attempted suicide. Beverly blamed herself, believing that if she had been performing in New York, she might have been home that night. From that point on, she only accepted roles close to her family. In 1975, the Met finally invited Beverly to perform. At age 45, she took the stage for Rossini's The Siege of Corinth. The audience gave her an 18-minute standing ovation, the longest for any debut since World War II. Newspapers called it a triumph for American opera. Yet even then, critics couldn't resist questioning her. Some said her voice had lost its top sparkle. Others accused her of using her fame to manipulate the press. Beverly ignored the noise and donated her performance earnings to charity, proving she cared more about people than praise. When the New York Times later published a harsh article questioning her talent and background, thousands of fans wrote letters defending her. The debate over whether she was a true diva or a media-made star only made her more iconic. By then, she had already won something bigger than applause. She had earned respect as the woman who stood up for herself and her art. After decades on stage, Beverly retired from performing in 1980, but she didn't step away from opera. Just months later, she became the general director of the New York City Opera. The company was millions of dollars in debt when she took over. Using her natural charm and marketing skill, she turned things around. She introduced English subtitles to make operas more accessible, brought in Broadway-style shows like Sweeney Todd, and encouraged younger audiences to attend. Critics complained she was commercializing opera, but her strategy worked. Within 3 years, the company had a surplus and fuller audiences than ever before. She also became a national advocate for children with disabilities, helping raise millions for the March of Dimes and autism research. Her fame, once a barrier, became her greatest weapon in helping others. The same voice that once sang to packed theaters now spoke for families who had no voice at all. Peace with the Met came only in 1991, when Sills joined its board of directors. It ended 3 decades of tension, but there was one condition: she could never criticize the Met or perform there again. She agreed, joking that her high C would stay in the museum. Years later, her private letters revealed the toll of those years, the exhaustion, her son's struggles, and her quiet battles with illness. In 2007, Beverly was diagnosed with lung cancer, despite never smoking a day in her life. Doctors believed decades of secondhand smoke in theaters caused it. 4 days after her diagnosis, she passed away at 78. Her death led to major changes. Lincoln Center banned indoor smoking, and the Met installed a new air filtration system in her honor. Beverly Sills' life was more than a story about music. It was about courage, compassion, and persistence. Beverly Sills wasn't like other opera divas of her time. While many singers demanded luxury dressing rooms and endless applause, Beverly was known for her humor, warmth, and humility. She would joke with the orchestra, hug stagehands, and thank makeup artists by name. Her laughter could be heard backstage before every show. When asked once why she didn't act more like a star, she laughed and said, "Honey, I've seen stars burn out. I'd rather just shine." This attitude made her not only loved by audiences, but also respected by colleagues. She proved that success didn't require arrogance. In an era when opera was considered an elite art form, Sills made it human. She spoke openly about her nervousness before big performances and about mistakes she made early in her career. That honesty broke barriers between performer and audience. She wasn't just an opera singer. She was America's opera sweetheart, a woman people felt they knew personally, even if they had never met her. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Beverly helped bring opera into the homes of ordinary Americans. She appeared on popular talk shows like The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and The Merv Griffin Show, performing arias one moment and cracking jokes the next. Her charm made her an instant TV favorite. This was revolutionary because opera singers rarely appeared outside classical circles. Some critics accused her of cheapening the art form, but Beverly knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted to prove that opera wasn't just for the rich, it was for everyone. Her friendly personality and clear way of explaining complex music made people fall in love with opera for the first time. She once said, "If you can make someone laugh before you make them cry, they'll listen to every note you sing." That philosophy turned her into an ambassador of the arts, helping countless Americans discover a passion for classical music they never knew they had. Offstage, Beverly was just as powerful as she was under the spotlight. Her experiences with her children shaped her entire outlook on life. When Meredith and Peter Jr. were diagnosed with disabilities, there were few programs for families like hers. Instead of hiding her pain, Beverly used her fame to shine a light on the issue. She became an outspoken advocate for children with disabilities, helping raise millions of dollars for the March of Dimes, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and autism research. Her advocacy helped build new schools and therapy centers across the country. She once said, "My applause comes from my daughter's laughter." Her tireless charity work won her numerous humanitarian awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1980. But Beverly never let honors change her. She continued to attend small fundraising events, signing autographs for hours just to ensure the next generation of children had better opportunities than her own. When Beverly became the general director of the New York City Opera, many doubted her ability to handle the role. She had no formal business training and was taking charge of an organization drowning in debt. But Beverly proved everyone wrong. She approached management the same way she approached singing, with discipline, passion, and humor. She launched creative marketing campaigns, appeared in commercials, and even organized opera events in shopping malls to attract younger audiences. People who had never seen an opera before suddenly wanted to attend one. Her ability to blend art with accessibility turned her into a symbol of modern leadership. Under her direction, the City Opera became financially stable and culturally vibrant again. She once said, "You can't keep art alive by locking it in marble halls. You have to bring it to the people." That philosophy made her one of the most influential cultural leaders in America. Her success inspired many women to take leadership positions in the arts, a field long dominated by men. Beverly's strength was tested again in the 1990s. Her beloved husband, Peter Greeno, developed Alzheimer's disease, and she became his full-time caregiver. She slowly reduced her public appearances to stay home with him. Friends recalled that she never complained, even as her world grew smaller. She once said, "When you love someone, you don't count the minutes you lose. You count the smiles you still get." After Peter's death in 2006, Beverly spoke about grief in a rare interview, saying that music was her refuge. "When I sing in my head, I hear his voice beside mine," she said softly. Her courage during this period showed that her strength didn't come from fame, but from love. Many fans later wrote to her, saying that her honesty about loss helped them through their own pain. Even in sorrow, she continued to give others hope, a quality that made her truly timeless. By the end of her life, Beverly had become more than an artist. She was a symbol of American perseverance. She represented the immigrant dream, the hard-working mother, and the woman who shattered ceilings without bitterness. She showed that you could be glamorous and humble, successful and kind, strong and vulnerable,